Hey, Elsie. Hey, Vaughn. Welcome to the His and Her Money
Hey, you
Show.
guys.
Hey,
Hey,
how
how
you
you doing?
doing?
We're doing well. Super glad to have you all here. You're part of a new segment here at the His and Her Money Show called In the Middle, where we are sharing stories from individuals who are on the road to debt freedom. They're still in the fight, they're still on the front lines. And we are glad that you all are willing to come on and help inspire others to follow in your footsteps. But before we start digging into your journey, can you say hello to everyone that's tuned in and let them know what you are all about?
Oh, hello. My name is Vaughn, and this is my husband, Elsie,
Hello.
or now, as of last week, Wednesday, Dr. Elsie Mitchell.
All right.
Putting the respect on my
Congrats.
name.
Yeah, I put the respect on your name.
Birdman status.
Awesome.
We live in Northern Virginia, Woodbridge area, about 35 minutes outside of DC. And we have a total of 3 crumb snatchers, aging from the age of 13 and then 3 and 7 months.
Nice.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes.
Love it.
Pray for us.
Yeah. Well, we got 3 as well, so we'll pray for y'all. Yeah. Our kids are a little bit, our youngest she'll be 6 next month, so I kind of feel like, ooh, I got a little breather now. But yeah.
Potty
Totally
training.
relate. Yep, I can totally relate. So let's talk about your debt-free journey thus far. Tell everybody how much debt in total were you guys in? How much have you paid off thus far, and what time frame?
So just approximately, we had a total, I had to add it up, $148,649.25. And so far, we're down to $58,794.80.
Wow.
You guys are rocking.
And what time frame? How long did it take you guys to pay that off?
So, and I'll explain, but we started really about December of 2017.
Okay.
Awesome.
So about
Awesome.
a year and a half almost.
Man,
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
So let's start from the very, very beginning. What sparked this journey of yours? What was it? Did something transpire? And what was the conversation like that you guys knew that, hey, we need to really get a hold of this and we need to get out of debt?
Okay, you ready?
We're ready.
We're ready.
Entertaining.
We're an entertaining couple, yeah.
Okay.
We're an entertaining couple. Okay, so when we were in the military, about 2000, before I got out, I found my uncle introduced me to Dave Ramsey. And so we weren't married at that time. That's another story. But but anyway, we were together. But we weren't married at that time. And so I was doing the Dave Ramsey thing, but doing it my way, which wasn't the right way. And I wasn't serious about the student loan. I was like, oh, whatever kind of thing. And so then right when we got married, he didn't have any debt, student loan, credit cards. He didn't have anything. It was me. I had the student loan. I had sold a townhouse I had. And credit cards, you know, things that normal people have. And so then I told him, hey, let's get out of debt. So he looked at it as, and to back up, we were making good money. We didn't have any kids. And so we would have thousands of dollars in the bank account. And I'm just like, student loan, it's deferred. I'm not worrying about a student loan debt. So he didn't really.
Paying the interest.
Yes, and carrying the interest. And so he was like, more like, well, he just says it once, you know, won't you just get out of debt? And I'm like, I'm out of debt, you know? And so he felt that if he paid all the bills and I focus on the student loan, then that's us getting out of debt. So fast forward, I took a leave without pay from my job. I work for the government. I took a leave without pay from my job to be with him, to be stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas. And I wasn't working, but I was going to school. And that's the time I probably should have started working towards my student loan debt, but I didn't. And so that just kept being deferred because I was in school. Then from there, we had a situation where we planned to be pregnant, and we got pregnant and everything. I moved back to DC. We built a house here in Northern Virginia area, and lo and behold, something happened to the baby. And I had to be basically rushed to Children's Hospital to see what was going on. And while my husband was packing up our household goods in Kansas, I was delivering a baby and had to let the child die on its own, basically. And so that had us separated. And then he came home about 2 weeks later. And that Monday I was discharged from the hospital, and Wednesday moved into our new home, but I was still by myself. And then from there, he came home a week and a half later and then got deployed shortly after. And that's when the depression for both of us, a lot of emotions was in our household. I mean, it was a very rough time. Then he retired. So we went from going from a nice income to
Yeah.
a very small income. And we couldn't get pregnant. So then went through a lot of testing and everything, and they told me I had secondary infertility. I'm skipping a lot of stuff just to, tell you how we got in this mess. And so then we had to go through IVF, which costs a lot. I mean, and so that was like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Yeah,
2 years.
2015, 2 years. So while Mitch was not working, but just receiving a retirement check, we went from making, say, a $200K household income to just my income, which was less than $100K. But we still wanted to get pregnant, and so we still decided that we were going to go with IVF. So we used a lot of our money from our savings to go with that, and then towards the end, it's a very stressful process on your body, on mentally and physically. So then we decided to take out a loan, and that's when that $25,000 came about with the IVF, the medications and doctors. Then from there, we did have our beautiful son, and we was living life and happy, traveling, and we paid for a lot of trips for cash, but then we would charge on the card, which our credit card wasn't really that much, about $5,000. But then we had property in Savannah by Fort Stewart. We had property there. Then we had my student loan, which was $50,000. And then Mitch wanted to fix up the backyard. So we ended up getting a deck and a patio, which ended up being about almost $45,000. And then miscellaneous stuff. So that's where the $148,000 came about. And so then I started doing research on student loan, because I'm like, you know what, it's time for us to pay this. This is ridiculous. Like, we have debt, but we can really be living nice and retire early like we want to. So let's just do this. But he was in his own world, like, you're the one with the debt, not me.
Yeah, so I didn't realize, once we got married, that was my debt too. So I had a student loan as well. So it wasn't until that time I accepted it. So a lot of people kind of glossed. I was glossing over it at the beginning, letting her deal with it on her own, I should have been helping her out. So, or just talking about it. So not talking about it only made it worse than what it was. So it wasn't until she started sending me the Dave Ramsey videos. You know, I started looking at them. I read the book. Actually, no, I read Chris Hogan's book. I wanted to be a billionaire or whatever. So it made me go back to the baby steps. And I was like, okay, I got to get serious about this and join her so that we can just unite on one front. So it wasn't until that piece, actually, those conversations took place. And we set rules like, okay, purchases over $500, we got to sit down and talk about these things. So we sit down and talk about everything. So,
it could be $1.
Yeah, $1 now. So, but I think that is probably the most important, that the male has to join forces and really actively do these things. So, because it wasn't until that point that we started to see the changes, actually. But yeah, I did do the deck. It was for my staycations, so I wanted to be comfortable since we're not flying as much anymore. Yeah, we hadn't took a trip since like last year.
While I was pregnant. So it wasn't until he got on board that we start paying off the debt. I mean, we'll be done next year. So it wasn't, and then I started reading, oh God, I can't think of the book. It's Rachel Cruz and he's a simple name, where they talk about college. It's for college students.
Anthony O'Neill.
Yes. And I purchased the book for a high school student because I'm like, you know, now that I'm trying to get out of debt, and I'll say because he felt like if I pay the bills, the debt should be you paying off your student loan debt is on you, not realizing it's on us. It helps a lot when it's coupled together, not just individual. So I started reading the book.
No, I should have been helping her out, just being her accountability partner. Like, hey, did you put some money towards that thing this month? You know, or extra payment?
Right. So read the book, and that's when I started to understand student loans. You know, I didn't know that when you call Nelnet and you tell them, hey, can I put $500 additional on the principal? And they tell you, no, it goes towards the entire loan. I didn't understand that. And then the lady stayed on the phone with me a good 30 minutes because I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. This is a loan. I should be able to put money towards the loan, you know, towards the principal. But come to find out, no, when it's a student loan, you can't put money towards the principal. If you want to put extra money towards it, it just goes towards the entire loan. You're still paying out that interest, that same amount of interest. So one day I was watching an NFL game, and SoFi commercial came up about refinancing your student loans. And during the commercial, that's when I went on and applied. And that's what's helped me be able to pay down on the student loan and more on the principal than on the interest. My interest is now $40 a month because I'm paying on so much on the principal. And so a lot of people don't know that. When I speak to them about student loans, they think that if they pay extra on the student loan that you're is helping you pay down, but not as fast. It's student loans, Stafford loans, all loans are evil. It's
just evil. Yeah.
and that's what really helped us. And so once he started watching and reading a lot of Dave Ramsey, Chris Hogan, and I found you guys on YouTube and started sharing it with other folks.
She shared you guys with me too. I kind of like y'all. I'm pseudo Dave Ramsey too. I'm not all the way in. I need a couple of luxuries. You know what I mean? Throw me a little something. But,
we appreciate the love.
Yeah. So, what do you all think was? I mean, it took a while. Like it wasn't you snapped your fingers and Elsie. I mean, and Elsie saw the light. You know, it took a while. And some people are trying to get their spouse on board, and it's not working, and they about to give up on it. They about to throw in the towel. One, Vaughn, what made you keep trying to get Elsie on board? And then 2, while you were waiting for him to get on board, how did you not give up?
I knew what Elsie's goals were, what our goals were in general. We would like to retire or be financial independent. Is that the word we came up with?
Yeah.
Okay. I have baby brain, so I can't remember everything. But we want to be financially independent. And when I started showing him numbers and showing him,
I'm a numbers guy, so she started speaking to me in my language. So showing me the numbers and sending me stuff that kind of piqued my interest. So she knows me well, and I know her. So she used those type of things to get through to me. So when I seen the numbers, I was like, okay, let me go ahead and do this thing so we can get out of here. Yeah. Because if she can't travel, I can't travel. So, so it's one of those things.
It's time to get your life insurance together with Legal & General America. As one of the nation's leaders in low-cost, high-quality life insurance to over 1.3 million families, we know how to protect you. For nearly 7 decades, we've been the first and only carrier to add 10 more years of security to our policies for a total of 40 years of life insurance coverage. If you need basic protection until retirement, that deal is perfect. Legal & General America makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy. Our agents are standing by to help you determine the best coverage to fit your family's needs. Visit hisandhermoney.com/LGA to get started on your journey toward financial wellness.
I like how you guys said it wasn't until you both got on board combined collectively, that's when you really started to see the traction. And Tyler and I, we preached that to the rooftops, like one accord in marriage. And it's not until you really do, you come together in all areas, not just deciding to be parents, right? But also in the area of money. And you'll be surprised the impact that it will have on your marriage, your finances, everything around. So I know what you guys are saying to be true. And I just encourage those that are listening who may be married, get on board with your spouse. Come together as one accord. It's not yours, mine, and then ours. It's all of ours.
That's where the power is.
And you're right. When you got married, it did become your debt, and so now you guys are tackling your debt together and knocking it out. That's amazing.
Yeah. I would like to speak to or ask you all how you all made it through all the challenges that you all went through, even from a mental standpoint.
Seriously.
The process of infertility treatments, you all being in 2 separate states, you all not being on the same page at first, losing a child,
different country,
right? Deployment. We know what that's like to fight through deployment. That's a lot of those are a lot of reasons to give up and revert back to the way you've always done things. You had plenty of opportunities to throw in the towel, but you didn't. So for those who are facing obstacles, like they want to get out of debt, maybe they started, or maybe the obstacles that's in front of them has prevented them from even starting. How are you all able to fight through these obstacles and get on the path that you're on to debt freedom?
I think the number one thing is, we were friends, before we got married. So that's probably one of the key things. I care a lot about her and she cares a lot about me. So I think in the beginning, we had a strong relationship, a bond, a friendship. So she knows me, so she knows what I'll do in certain situations, and I kind of know what she's going to do too. So I think that was kind of the beginning. So I knew she was going through a lot, and it was a rough time. Don't get me wrong. So we talked a little bit about it. I supported her during the process. We had what was that, like a memorial?
Yeah, we had a memorial. That was, we had a memorial service, and I call him Mitch. So if I slip and say Mitch, I mean Elsie, I don't know how to call him. But he also was emotional too, which is understandable. But to me, it was like at the wrong time. So at the memorial, he was emotional, put it that way. But we went through grieving counseling. I went through grieving counseling. And then when he came back from deployment, he joined in, and the counselor really let him know that it's not about you, it's about her, at this time where I think once she said that, I think he got it. She wasn't saying that you can't grieve. It's that she saw and physically went through a lot, and it's traumatic for her. Plus, at the same time, you were deployed, and that's stress on her also. So whatever you feeling, you're gonna have to put that on the back burner, and let's get her mentally back to where she needs to be. So at that time, I think when anyone's going or grieving, they don't need to be focusing on debt. I think you need to focus on your mental state. That's the most important thing. And then once we got out of the mental state, then let's talk about where we want to be in the future. But at the time, your mental health is the most important thing. And that's what we focused on first.
Yeah, and I think what's so important, you bring up a very good point, because a lot of times when people are not in the right state of mind or have emotionally going through things, it does affect their debt. It does affect their spending habits. They might charge more. They might shop just to fill a void. So it's so important that when you're feeling these things that you don't immediately go towards financial security. I think that you need it in a different form. So definitely, I highly encourage everybody, seek out help, seek out a counselor, seek out a therapist, go to your church if you're involved in a local church, find out what resources that they have, because I think that is so important. Because if you don't get a hold of that, you're right. You'll just continue to spiral out of control, and it'll keep affecting other things in your life.
Yeah, I don't think we talk enough about the importance of mental health when it comes to financial health. Because, coming back from deployment, there were many, like I lost my ability to grieve.
Yep.
I literally lost because I lost so many friends out there and saw so much that something happened to me to where I had to be void of emotions just to survive. And when I came back, to the US for years, I still didn't know how to grieve. Like even when I lost people, here, like I just wasn't able to grieve like I wasn't able to grieve like a normal person. It was just like I moved on too fast, in my opinion, until it went away by the grace of God. But like when you're there,
you worked for it as well. You went through different.
Yeah, I went to counseling and talked to a lot of
same
people.
with him. He had PTSD, and so you've been deployed how many times?
Like 6 or 7.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And maybe you're
and
not
I was
in the
in the
person.
military also, so I got out. But it is, it was.
In our cases might be considered extreme, going to war and stuff like that. But people face all kind of traumas in life, and
losing a child,
losing a child, IVF, just
anything,
and it, no matter what your circumstances is, you have to address, like ignoring it. That's my point.
Exactly,
ignoring it is not the answer. So if there's trauma, it needs to be dealt with, because if you don't properly deal with that, you can't deal with something practical like this, because you need to be whole emotionally, mentally, to handle the financial aspects of trying to change, because you're basically asking yourself to become a completely different person when it comes to your money, because what you've been doing thus far got you in a mess. So you have to become a different person to get out. You have to change habits, you have to change thought processes, and that requires you to be in a good emotional and mental state to endure such change.
And discover what your triggers are. I think that's so important. I'm so happy that this conversation is taking this turn. Discover what your triggers are. A lot of you guys listening, you definitely have triggers. You're like, is that why I do like to go buy this item? Because it does give me an emotional high that's only temporarily, that goes away. There's something deeper there that you need to really look into and that you really need to uncover. So start to look at your triggers, start to pull back the layers and start to get to work.
So speaking of work, let's talk about it.
Just grounding too.
Yeah. That's so
that helped me a lot.
Yep.
I was disconnected with the world, no lie. And you think you can't do it? I'm a witness for about 2.5 years.
Yeah, wow. That's so true.
Disconnected.
That's so true.
And now that I look back, that was the best thing for me. And I joined support groups. I had a different type of Facebook account, and it was just support groups, and it was people that was going through it, grieving as far as losing a child. Some just like me, and till this day I'm friends with them. I'll go see them in a couple of months. I mean, I'm closer to them than I am with some people that know me for a long time, because they know what I went through. We went through it together.
Yeah, that's so very important. Sometimes you can be lonely even in your own home, you know.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can even be married and still feel alone. I was just talking with someone on yesterday. I had to call them and pray for them because they lost their mother, and that was the very words that I gave her. Find you a tribe, find you a community, find somebody that you can surround yourself, you know, around, that will help you pull yourself up out of this. So I think that that's so important. And sometimes you may even have to find it online like you did, you know. You can follow His or Her Money, whatever you have to do. It can be online, it can be physical, in person. There are people here that are ready to help support you, and you don't have to go through this alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Real.
That's how this journey is too. So you have to surround yourself around people like mine. So you ain't trying to make it with your money.
So
sorry.
Right. I mean, we know people and see people that, you know, nothing against them. You do what you want to do, but you know, we always preaching to folks, oh, we're trying to be financially independent, so no, we can't do that, or no coupon on that, or no, you know, and it's like they look at us like, you know, like,
look at your car.
Yeah, or I had someone tell me, oh, is that your commuter car? And I'm like, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I laughed. I thought it was funny.
So we don't have a Beamer. Sorry.
No, we haven't had a car in almost 10 years, so I'm good.
Talk about that. How did you guys let people know the journey that you guys are currently on? Your friends, your family, because there are people that are in the middle of it, and maybe they didn't tell anybody. Maybe they're just going through it alone. How did you all let others know what you guys are doing?
It might spark some conversations. Yeah. Some of the videos she sent out sometime, and then one of her friends actually likes the videos, so we're all in like a email group or a text message. Group. So email, we text back and forth. You know, I like that video, or that one had a good tip. So things like that. So people start to see your Facebook posts and the messages, so she started to share more.
Oh, I don't know if you know, Mitch, but Elsie had stated something like, you know, I have my PhD and now the next goal is to be financial independent. And I got inboxes on, what do you mean by financially independent, and what are you doing to get there? And so, you know, I would share your YouTube page, tell them about Dave Ramsey, and tell them to do their own research and go about it, and come back to me if you have any more questions on what we're doing. So that's about it. But a lot of people we learning, either they're comfortable where they are, and I'm starting to understand that more middle class folks are, I hate to say it, they're comfortable being in debt. They don't think it's debt. They think it's good debt or bad debt, or you're going to always have a car note or a mortgage.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people are on cruise control.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people do just accept, hey, this is the way of life. Everybody goes through this, but no, everybody does not. I really do believe that getting out of debt is really becoming a thing. And I think that
and we're making it a thing, doggone it.
Yeah, and I think I think it's becoming more and more contagious in a good way, where people are like, I don't have to stay in this type of bondage. Yeah. For real. So talk about some of the things that you guys have done. I mean, you all have paid off over $50,000. More than that in a year and a half. Incredible. What have you guys been doing? What are some of the practical things? What have you guys been putting into place to knock that out?
It started like with small things. She was couponing. We're seeing a large savings in that. Going to work, I take my lunch every day. You know what I mean? So that's a huge savings, because people go to DC and buy food out of food trucks, $10 minimum from some trucks, you know, just to get a meal, but as expensive as $20. So you add that up by 3-4 days, that's a lot of money. That's like $200. So not me. So I buy my little salad from Aldi's, pack it in myself, if I want to dice it up a little bit, I might put some tomatoes on it. So hey, I a little bit.
He's a rabbit.
Then I eat my meal when I come home. I get my protein. So when she cooks it, so they
Aldi's is the best. Aldi's and Wally World, Walmart. And also I will ask people who have kids, hey, do you have clothes? You know, and they come back with huge bags like, oh, thank you. I mean, we didn't even have a baby shower for our daughter because they're so close in age, they're 2 years apart. It didn't make sense. So I never had to shop for our daughter. I also have a garden. I started a garden when I lost our son. And that was my therapy right there. And so we have a garden, we eat from the garden, and we don't eat out if once a month. And we stated that we're only going to travel once a year, and we're just going to enjoy the DMV area. There's so much to do, too much to do around here. And we use our military discounts to do things, and we're fine. I mean, yeah.
What I love about your story is it's the little things that you guys are doing in place to make such a big impact. You guys didn't mention making extra money or side hustles or things like that, but it's the little things.
You got to organize with your own finances.
And that's what we
talk about in the works.
So look at the little things. Are you taking your lunch to work, or can you take your lunch to work? Yeah, you can. You know, and I like how you guys put the little things in place, and it made such a huge impact.
Yeah. So you guys
you
guys are halfway through your journey. Talk about even how you all have gone about, because you said earlier we'll be done next year. Talk about how you all have come up with your projections and how you're tracking your progress and keeping yourselves accountable.
So we use the Every Dollar app that Dave Ramsey have, and we talk about money every day.
Yes. So basically, we took all our debts, and she laid them out from the largest to the smallest, and then we
smallest to largest.
Yeah, I mean smallest to largest. And she created the plan from that. So once she laid that out, so we having our meeting and we talking about it, and that's actually how we laid out the timeline. And we looked at the projected payments for all that debt, and that's actually how we came up with that timeline.
And we've been getting, little bonuses and raises from work. We looked at the budget and constantly trying to figure out where we could cut. I bought him a lawnmower. So
for my birthday.
Yeah. You don't mow the yard.
Happy birthday.
Merry Christmas, all of the above. What's another thing? I would cut you so where and then we both.
We got rid of cable.
Yes,
that was the biggest thing. Yeah, so we stream TV now.
And I tell everybody, cut that cable. Oh, I remember the following month when we didn't have to send that money in. I was like, how come we didn't do this sooner?
Yes.
I think you'll miss it.
I was the biggest. I was the biggest.
Well, we were holding on to it too, thinking for his sports, but it's like
NFL package.
So we get it all. We get the NFL package, the red zone. We get every sport, everything.
What talent? I get NFL, NBA.
What streaming?
I even get premium channels now, so I never had those.
So people are listening.
Talk about your setup. Like, okay,
right.
Well, what did you use? What technology? What
you cut your cable.
Streaming systems? Like, give everybody the blueprint.
I'll have to forward you the email, the website for it, because I don't know it by heart. I have to look at my phone.
IXQ TV. It was an app. We actually started with B-Stream. Mm-hmm. And it was like a box plus a app that we could get our television on, and it was about what, $30 a month? 25 a month when we started. It recently changed, so it's now what is it now?
$39 a month.
I'm talking about the name of it.
So the name of it is IXQ TV, .com. So it's MYIXQTV.com. And so my uncle, really my dad told me about it. He's like, oh, I could get all the channels. And it just went through one and through another. Cause I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. And so then my uncle really sat down and explained it to me. And that's when we got on board in like 2016, 2017. And so I kept telling my husband, we can get every channel, every movie, anything you want to watch, but let's get rid of this cable. Oh, you got to prove to me that I can watch my NFL channel. And I'm like, Mitch, you know, we spending more on the equipment than we are on the...
She laid that out in numbers too. So once I looked at, we had direct TV and we had those genies and stuff. When she laid out that equipment, I'm like, okay, yeah, we got to get rid of this because the equipment was more than the services that we were actually getting.
I'm happy that you all said that. You guys, you are leasing this equipment. You don't own it. And you don't own it whatsoever. And that's something that we pay for it
and give it back.
In our household. For our internet.
But they made it seem like you will own it.
Yeah, you don't own it. You're leasing it. And if you damage it, trust me, they're going to want their money on top of that. So something that we've incorporated in our home, even for our internet, we purchase our own modems. Like you don't have to lease and rent the modems from your cable companies, from your internet providers. We call them, they actually tell us which modems are actually compatible, and we go right to Best Buy or Amazon and we purchase the modems ourselves. And yes, you got to pay an upfront cost, but overall, you're still saving in the end. Right. So yeah, look at everything.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good point. So cut that, cut on going out to eat. One thing I will not cut is two things. The house cleaning lady, I need that. So I will cut on where I won't get any clothes for a year. I'm okay with that. I need her in my life. And I also have someone that comes in 3 times out the week, Tuesday through Thursday. And I call her a mommy helper, and she comes during the times that I'm at work or on my way home, and she cooks the dinner, get the kids ready for bed, bathe them, read them a story, clean up the kitchen, do those kind of things instead of myself, because then I notice that I don't get to bed till after 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I get up real early. We both do to beat traffic and drop the kids off, and I'm drained. So, and I actually use our flex spending from my job to pay for that. So you can pay for nanny, you could pay for daycare or whatever with that money. So I use that money to pay for her, for that help. So certain things I just won't get rid of because I think time is very important and valuable. But other than that, I will cut everything out.
She will.
Yeah, I don't play.
So let's talk about how you all had to come to these agreements, because even Elsie said, Elsie said earlier, like, I still, like to have my little luxuries, and Vaughn, you have some things that you didn't want to bend on. Some people think that it's all or nothing, right? And you can't customize it. And we always teach that personal finance is personal, and you get to make the plan yourself, and you get to make the projections based on the things that you want to keep and the things that you want to cut. So talk about, you all's back and forth with customizing your debt freedom plan.
I know it's important to her for certain things. I know her time is important, so she can have her the mommy's helper and the cleaner. I enjoy that too. So, it's just give and take. So a lot of times, so I give her a hard time, but I work with her, so it's one of those. So I'm on board now. So all this other stuff is like, I think the hardest part for her was just getting me on board. So now that I'm on board. It's like all or none. So I'm on the ship. So
I think a lot of it too is,
I see the savings. So it's like, okay. And I think the big driving force for me is I want to truly retire, and not have to go to work like I see some of my colleagues. 65 up in there. I don't want to have to be up in there at like 65, 67, Yeah, some of them like about 70. And they have to come to work. So I don't want to do that. So, and I see this getting financially free as a way to get out of that. So once we do that, then we can put everything into our savings.
Mm-hmm.
So the retirement is the big driver for me. So that keeps me in the game and motivated.
I think also with we both stubborn and go-getters, and I think maybe our military background also helped with that, you know, being on top of things and not quitting. So we don't have that quitting spirit. We kind of don't like to be defeated. And so that's what also is like, come on, let's be different. We both enjoy traveling. So let's be able to travel and we can do it and move the whole family, you know, to a different country if we wanted to do so and still have past, you know, income coming in.
So what's next for you guys? I mean, you guys will be out of debt, give it a good another year. And what's in your future?
Well, the next thing is to pay off our rental property, which we can knock that out in probably 6 months easy. And then this house, our main home.
Yeah, we want to join you guys.
Yeah.
Come on,
house
come on with it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do our video. Hopefully I could give it to a news network because I'll be so excited about it.
And I think you all are going to do it. You all have the focus. You all have the determination.
Yeah.
Now you all are a team. So I don't think nothing is going to stop you all.
Thank you. And Elsie, well, I'll let him talk about what he's want to do, but I'm into interior decorating. So people always keep asking me to do their home or why won't I do it? Even my supervisor told me, why won't you do it? Just work your job and do this on the side while you're at work, you know, when downtime. So I'm thinking about looking at a YouTube channel and having kind of like a B. Smith type of, you know, twist to it and do some individuals home. I already have a client. So interior decorating for me. And if it, you know, pops off, then I'll quit my job and do that full time.
Okay, for me, in the military, I did transportation. So I've been looking at doing a freight brokerage business. So I want to work from home. So to start out, it's just going to be a side hustle. I'm going to do that and probably get a couple of agents up under me. So
you both got some entrepreneurial goals on the horizon. I love that. What would you say to somebody who is at the beginning, back at the starting line, and they are about to endeavor on the journey to debt freedom, or they're just standing there looking like, should I do this? How would you encourage them?
What would you say?
What I say, go ahead and do it. Or first commit to your mate first and get that plan so y'all can get started.
True, but if the mate doesn't, you know, get on board, you still go ahead and start on it.
Because she started without me pretty much, so, and then find a way to bring that mate or get their curiosity to swing them over your way.
Right. And I also, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
I mean, do you like where you are right now? So
do you want to work for the rest of your life for somebody else? So that's motivation for me.
Yeah, that's
I don't want to be a slave to a
too.
job.
Right. And I think that's what the new generation, including our generation, is starting to see is that, you know, I don't want to be a slave to anyone. I want to be, I want to live my dream or be passionate about it. I don't want to die or get older and say, man, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like they say, the richest place in the world is in the graveyard. So I don't want to be that person.
Well, we're proud of you guys, man.
Very
you
proud.
all have been knocking your debt out. You've been kicking it to the curb, and we can't wait for you all to cross
That's
that finish line.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for existing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You gave my answer to Dave Ramsey.
Oh yeah. That's why he likes you guys.
Yeah. So when she said that thing, I was like, okay, yeah.
So
Not
glad
all
to
the way.